Hey everybody, welcome back to Podcasts and Such, where we are watching Mob Psycho 100, 2 episodes at a time. I'm Jay.
I'm Luke.
And today we're covering episodes 11 and 12, Master and Leader, and Mob and Reigen, a giant Tsuchinoko appears.
Giant Tsuchinoko.
Yep, a big old Tsuchinoko appeared.
It sure did.
Yeah. So, yeah, I misled you a little bit last week.
Yeah.
About Reigen. And I only did that because I didn't get to see that little stinger the first time I watched it through. I was like skipping whenever.
Yeah.
Oh, the theme song's here. Cool. I want to see what happens next.
Right.
And I jumped the gun a little too much.
Right.
It happens. But when I was looking at Reddit, everybody was like, "Oh my god, that cliffhanger."
Yeah. So basically, you were never under the impression that Reigen was the boss of Claw.
Yeah, never. No, I never got to have that moment, so I was kind of like,
yeah.
Well, think about that, you know?
Right. Yeah. You sold it a little too hard.
I think so. I should.
Like, you were saying stuff like, if I recall correctly, like, well, I don't know what kind of powers does Reigen have.
No, I didn't say. Well, I said, listen. He said he's the greatest sidekick of the century, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he does indeed say that.
He does indeed say that.
Yeah.
You definitely told it.
Yeah. I really should have let you I should have just specified that yes, that is indeed Reigen.
Yeah.
And let you come to whatever conclusion you wanted to.
There. Yeah.
But
because they definitely used like a but yeah, they definitely used a shot of him that was menacing.
Yeah, they did go for that like sketchy oil painting-ish shot of just his eyes and just his bangs.
Yeah.
I would have to maybe show you the panel in the manga that they use later with him all like menacingly standing amongst the lackeys.
Yeah, the lackeys.
Yeah.
That's in the manga.
That's in the manga, okay. Yeah. And that's how they ended the volume, by the way. So if you're reading volume by volume, you're like, oh my god, Reigen's the boss of Claw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Reigen's not the boss of Claw.
No, Reigen is not the boss of Claw.
That's what I found out this episode.
He's a normie, like you said.
He is a normie.
Yeah.
In fact, he is a normie to a degree that I have not anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
Watching, this anime and kind of being ready for the more anime-y things to begin, the big fights and stuff. I was very surprised that we got to sort of the confrontation with the big baddies in this penultimate episode of the first season. And Reigen's like, don't use your powers on people. Use your words, Mob.
Yeah, I've always said that, Reigen is like, oh, I thought I was in my paranormal detective anime. I didn't realize I was in a coming-of-age shonen.
Yeah.
I wasn't signed up for this.
Right. Yeah. It just,
Yeah.
It's getting a little absurd. Just like, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's the fun thing.
That's a lot of the humor of it is that, like, in a situation where by anime standards it would be perfectly acceptable for Mob to enter a confrontation with these fellows.
Yeah.
For some reason. Here's the weird thing though.
Yes.
Is that Reigen is to some degree only saying this because Mob is a child.
Yeah.
He's saying let the adults handle it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, Reigen, but you're the only adult. And you can't handle it.
Yeah. There is a little bit of that. And, Reigen is so interesting. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we have Ritsu and Teru on the sidelines this episode. Every time he's like, I'm going to handle this peacefully. And then Teru's like, but a dropkick?
Right,
And then
yeah, yeah.
Ritsu's just like, "But a sucker punch? You said you were gonna sell this peacefully,
Yeah,
Reagan."
yeah, yeah.
And then we get no comment from Bob, and I think that's because he's just so used to the dissonance between the things that Reagan says and the things Reagan does.
Right.
Because when we get that with the Tsuchinoko short at the end, he's all like, "Oh, Mob, don't you have any curiosity about UMAs?" And then he's like, "No, Mob, shut up, you're stupid. UMAs don't exist. Shut
Yeah,
up."
yeah, yeah.
Like so it's like stop gaslighting Mob.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
because, like, Reagan does not want Mob to use his powers on other people,
Yeah.
but then Reagan gets Mob's
Hours.
powers and proceeds to use them on other people.
He mostly used them in self-defense,
Yeah,
mind
mostly
you.
deflecting stuff. He
Deflecting.
threw that old man.
He did throw Ishiguro. Now, he was trying to just take off the mask, I think. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he meant to throw him that hard.
Right, but he certainly did throw
He
him.
was very surprised
Yeah,
that that happened, I think, but
yeah.
also, yeah, he's not very consistent. And I think it's because now I don't know 100% whether or not Mob ever told Reagan about the incident with him and Ritsu. Like, I don't know if he
Right.
ever sat down and said, "Hey, here's exactly what happened with that." But he's obviously expressed to Reagan that he doesn't want to hurt people, and that's why they have that role together. And that's why he was so like, it's okay, Bob, and the whole, if you hurt these people, you're only gonna hurt yourself.
Okay. Yeah,
You
so
know,
he's looking out for Mob in the sense that Mob cannot take it.
yeah, like I don't think Mob will be able to live with himself if he
Yeah.
will push people and
Yeah.
and he was going 100% murderous intent. He was saying it was I don't care what happens to others
Yeah.
as long as I can save them or whatever. Um,
That was really clever though, how they sort of played with the suspense of that entire interaction where Reagan gets Mob's powers.
yeah,
Because, at first they had thrown in that line about how the sword that the guy was using was a toy sword that had been cursed multiple times to become powerful.
yes,
And so when Reagan gets up fine and then says, "Oh man, so that really is a toy sword," you're
hmm
kind of like, "Oh, but like how was he like chopping things and
yeah,
how was he destroying stuff earlier?" And then Reagan like breaks the sword and everything and you're just going like, "Is was it a toy sword?" Like
well, I mean,
or
yeah, yeah,
like I was having here was my internal thought process.
yeah. Now I'll tell you what mine was afterwards.
I thought that the reveal was going to be that psychic powers didn't work on Reagan to some extent. Like, of course, like Mob could grab him and stuff like that, but I thought there was going to be some sort of reveal that, like, whatever was making the psychic powers of that sword work
Yeah.
did not work on Reagan and it was just a toy sword,
Ah,
you
okay.
know?
Yeah.
So I thought we were building up to something like that, like psychic powers in
Like
some
anti
capacity.
super.
Yeah, he has like kryptonite or
Yeah.
something.
See, I thought, are we having like a what's a god to a non-believer situation?
Oh,
Like
okay, yeah,
like
yeah.
it relied on belief because he's so
That would
like
be interesting. Yeah.
interestingly he's so skeptical of all these other espers, I guess because he's so surrounded by, probably fakes in his field.
Mhm.
That when he encounters these espers, he's immediately like, oh, these are just a bunch of fake bozos here.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because he did mention that he was surprised that there were other
Other espers
espers
than Bob.
besides Mob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Huh.
even Bob's like on the floor in that crater. He's like, "Hey, bud, what you doing down there? You
Yeah.
all right? You all right there, bud?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that was weird. Uh yeah, that's what I thought. I
Mhm.
didn't go as maybe deep
Yeah,
as your thought process on it, but I
yeah.
was in that area of like,
Is there something about
is there
Reagan?
something about Reagan that
Yeah.
makes it so that these things aren't
Don't
working
worry.
on him?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Because
then it
yeah,
turns out it was just a transference of Mob's power,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which to me makes it kind of like arbitrary a little bit. Like
Oh yeah.
it's like so it makes it seem strange that, like, Reagan doesn't want Mob to, like, fight the bad guys, but Reagan can fight the bad guys with Mob's power, but I guess, like,
Yeah.
maybe it's
Again, it's a whole adult thing, you know?
right, it's the adult thing, but also Mob is unable to, or at least at this point, seems to be unable to use those powers in, like, a calm,
Yeah, in a
collected.
regulated sense, you
Yeah,
know, because Reagan here, you know, he was in control of his emotions and
yeah,
the situation, but if Mob went berserk,
yeah.
he would have killed everybody
Yeah, he
there.
would've just
Yeah.
destroyed the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah,
interesting, yeah.
yeah,
And then, like, the 1,000% thing?
yeah, 1,000% Reagan.
That was interesting, like,
Yeah.
what it
Well, so basically, so that 100% that Bob was feeling was gratitude,
yeah,
100% gratitude, and
mhm.
that 1,000% was 1,000% Reagan, 0% Mob. Mob had transferred all his powers in that moment to Reagan.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's like Reagan times 10 or whatever. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Yes, that's what that
that
was.
was to convey that all of Mob's power was in Reagan at that moment.
Yeah, and possibly even amplified in some way because it
Yeah,
was Reagan. I don't know.
because of the gratitude.
Yeah,
I wonder if, like,
gratitude. Yeah.
does positive emotion actually create better psychic strength than negative emotion?
Oh yeah, could be. You know, could
That
be
could be
something
part
like
of it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's just the gratitude towards Reagan specifically. I guess
Sure.
that's just how much Bob trusts and yeah Reagan. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps unwisely.
Perhaps perhaps unwisely is a good
Yeah,
way to put it. Yeah, 'cause, yeah, we saw a little flashback, a little Mob and Reagan
yeah.
this episode. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about how they met?
It was kind of funny because it was basically like, "Get out of my hair, kid," until he realized, "Hey, I could exploit you."
Anybody else gonna exploit this kid? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is interesting to see that he was in the psychic game before he met Mob.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, because all of the stuff that he does is not heavily reliant on Mob. Most
yeah,
of the, like, flashes to him that we see throughout the season,
yeah,
he's doing things that are just
yeah.
blatant trickery rather than needing Mob to
Right,
actually
right.
be there to exercise a demon
Because we're
or spirit.
usually we're usually cutting over to him because Mob isn't there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
But okay, so but like when Mob is there, you think he does more of the
yeah. I think because as implied in that first episode, he called Mob as soon as he found out it was a real ghost.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So
So that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. So, but it sounds like the majority of his clientele are just looking for a massage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I had a weird thing watching this episode when what is the blonde guy's name again?
Oh, Teru.
Teru. When
Yeah.
Teru's hair got like cut
Yeah.
and I don't know, there was a particular shot of him where I had this like feeling like, do all the protagonists have the same face?
Oh, their faces are drawn very similarly. I
Very
think the
similarly.
anime kind of tries to differentiate them more with like eye color and stuff like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, they
But there was a shot where I was just like, that looks like Reagan's face.
a little bit. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then Reagan's face kind of looks like Mob's face sometimes.
Yes,
Like,
their faces all are all very similar.
yeah.
One has a very similar art style for everybody. Saitama and Mob share a face.
Yeah.
Saitama, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way he draws, and then
Yeah.
like it doesn't help that like Teru's hairline is drawn differently in the manga, and so
Yeah.
him and that kid show
Uh-huh.
because they both have like kind of similarly drawn eyes.
Yeah.
Often I was like reading that part of the manga, and I was just like, oh wait, that's not show, that's Teru.
His hairline is drawn differently.
Yeah, yeah. Like and so they kind of draw him with like fluffy Naruto hair in the anime, but his hairline's a lot like shows, like an actual like hairline and then spiked out.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did notice like I kind of liked Teru's hair like originally
Yeah, his original hairstyle. Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
than this Naruto hair going on.
Yeah, well, but you see, we talked about Naruto so much, it was
Yeah,
foreshadowing
that's our obligatory
Naruto reference at the
Naruto
end.
reference for this
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, not digging the hair yet.
I mean, it's better than the cactus for
Yeah,
sure.
because earlier, we finally got to watch this episode together, y'all, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But, it just pans over to Teru in that moment after, Mob hugs Ritsu,
Yeah.
and then just pans over to Teru, and you're just like, "The hair!"
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't take him seriously
It
every
was
time he's on screen.
it was supposed to be a very sweet moment.
And then you have to cut over to Teru.
Cut over to Teru with his cactus head. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
It was a little distracting.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, some nice moments between Mob and Ritsu this
Yeah.
episode. Oh, he
Yeah.
just he just loves him so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think I think Mob might be overconfident in other people.
yeah, a lot of people like love that scene because he's over there like, "Oh, it's my calm, brilliant little brother," and it's just like, and Ritsu's just like, "I unlocked my psychic powers because I accused somebody of licking recorders,
Yeah.
and I've been suffering in silence ever since."
Yeah. We got some resolve for that too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Well, and, Bob actually went and communicated with some people. He went and talked to Kamaro about Ritsu and the whole situation, apparently. It's
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
screen.
yeah.
It's on, yeah,
Oh,
on
okay,
screen, so it's
yeah.
hard. Sometimes you don't remember that happened because
Yeah.
they just kind of say it.
That's just implied by them.
Yeah, he just said, "Hey, your older brother visited me last night."
Oh, okay.
And then I guess with Onigawara as well,
Mhm.
the fact that he knows that Maud's white tea poison now, he
Everyone
wants
knows that Mob's white tea poison.
well, he either heard it through the grapevine, or
Yeah.
Mob told him
Yeah, yeah.
and was like, "Hey, don't beat up my little brother, please."
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Don't do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the implication here is that Mob might be actually
communicating.
talking to people,
Yeah.
which is an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of had to hit like all the reference points in this last episode, just kind of tying
Yeah.
everything up.
Yeah, really wrapping everything up.
Have
Yeah.
him see the girl who we never see, so I don't even
Subomi.
Subome?
Subomi.
Subomi.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like we saw her maybe like 3, 4 times this season. Yeah.
Correct.
She's just obligatory crush character.
Yeah. Gotta got a goal.
Yeah.
Gotta have a goal.
I just want to be popular.
Yeah. Psychic powers don't make you popular.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. Oh, that scene was great though. The
Yeah.
animation on that old man's decrepit face
Oh yeah.
throughout that whole confrontation
Oh yeah. They
was
really
hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that a character threw in that they thought he was a girl.
Yeah.
Because I also thought that.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
thought that too. I was like, oh okay. Oh, all right.
Female leader, yeah.
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 Yes. Yeah. It's that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else? Gosh. Yeah, we already talked about how much Mob loves Ritsu.
Mob does love Ritsu.
Yes, yeah. Hair's haircut.
Yep.
Nice little bookends with Ritsu fixing Mob's spoon one last time, like he did back in episode 1, but this time with his own powers.
Yeah. That was cool too.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
I loved his mom's reaction, just like, what's with kids these days?
Yeah. It's just like, you're not gonna be like, oh,
All these kids and their psychic powers.
yeah, like, aren't you surprised that your other son also has psychic powers?
Yeah.
Mom Kageyama.
Yeah.
Uh,
When he had been suffering with some sort of Napoleon complex the whole season.
he did that in his room. Nobody knows.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them teens, man.
Yeah.
Them teens.
Yeah.
Bend all bend all the spoons he wants. Come on.
Yeah. The we to go back to previous episodes,
Yeah.
it looks like we're definitely not getting a Sasuke arc, and
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed.
Oh, just like show.
Yeah.
Disappointed. He wants Mom to have a Sasuke arc.
Yeah. I would like Mob to have a Sasuke arc. Yeah.
Yeah, so we find out the real big boss.
Yeah, it says that kid's dad.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Show's dad.
Show's dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Show was like, man, everybody here is real cringe. Except for Ritsu, he's alright.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. He did do some of that.
Yeah.
And we got to see a little bit of Show's powers.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like he's able to figure out other psychic powers on the fly, it seems. He's like
Yeah, something.
yeah, yeah,
I
'cause
was confused
yeah.
about it.
So basically, he was able to kind of see those black holes and
Mhm.
understand no, they're not real black holes because they're constructed by psychic powers or whatever. So he was
Right.
able to kind of verse it or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So and then see sucker punch guy,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But that's interesting, especially like I guess I thought we were setting up Law 7th Division or whatever to be, the series bad guys or
reoccurring bad
whatever.
guys.
But
Okay, yeah.
seems like 7th Division got shut down.
Yeah, Seventh Division's gone, but the implication there being at least six more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, at
so
least.
yeah, at the very least.
So
Yeah, so yeah,
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 that'll be fun.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So when we find out that, of course, Show is not a scar like you thought, or at least you
Right.
haven't seen a scar on him.
Yeah.
But you were right to clock him as more of like a trainer.
Yeah, he was more
or whatever.
important than training for sure. Yeah, that because they get the scars from fighting the boss, right?
Yes, they got the scars from finding the boss.
Okay. I feel like he might still have his.
You think he might?
Yeah,
Somewhere?
I'm sure he's fought his dad. Who doesn't fight their dad?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a Zuko arc?
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
I thought it was kind of weird to end the season off with like a little random.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that they only they covered so many things this episode, yes,
Yeah.
and I couldn't really see how they could give any of that any more time than they already did. And
Yeah.
then they don't want to get into the next arc.
It just kind of made the last episode feel less important than the second to last episode.
Yeah, it kind of it does have almost like it feels like that episode has like three endings.
Yeah.
It's like the end where we get that picture of Teru and Ritsu and Reagan and Mob and Dimple all together. And then
they're like, these guys are gonna save the world.
And then you get the ending of Mob running and passing out as Ritsu and Kamuro talk about him.
Yeah.
The ending of Mob eating dinner with his family, and then we get the ending of Reagan and Dimple talking together.
Yeah.
So it's like we get like four endings.
Just a ton of endings, and those were all fine endings
Yeah.
to a certain extent. But then
We
we
get the giant Tsuchinoko.
ended off with the giant Tsuchinoko, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it is interesting
Yeah.
to put that in there, and that is.
Did they just need like 5 more minutes of animation, and then they like looked in the back of the manga and were like, oh yeah, here's one of those like ending chapter things.
Yeah, that is.
Let's just animate that.
Yeah, it's an omake adaptation, of course, and
Yeah.
they lifted almost all of those drawings just straight from the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. I'm guessing that's what it was. is
Feels
that they
feels
just
a little cobbled together for the ending.
a little bit. This is a slightly messy last episode. The penultimate episode is where all like the tension and drama and the
Yeah.
flashback and all
Mhm.
that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, two flashbacks we get. In
Reagan 1000%.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Reagan 1000% happens next episode.
Right. See, that's another problem, I guess, is the first half of the episode is kind of ending everything off from the second to last episode.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like those two should have been one episode.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know.
I kinda get you, but I could also not really think about how to shove all that in the penultimate
Sure,
episode.
sure.
It's,
You probably wouldn't wanna shove it all in because the cliffhanger was good with, like,
yeah,
Reagan getting sliced,
yeah.
but it's just like, I guess maybe there could have been more confrontation
Mhm.
at the end with, Reagan doing mob powers.
Okay, like a little more with that?
Yeah, or just something interesting
Okay.
that isn't them hunting for a giant Tsuchinoko
Well,
and
I can't see what else they would have done if I'm being honest.
Sure, sure,
Especially
yeah.
again, they can't really leak into the next arc.
Right,
Uh, at least I don't think they can.
yeah.
They got
Like, obviously, I don't have suggestions, I guess, for,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying I could have done better,
Yeah, yeah. You're just wishful thinking.
I'm just saying that's my impression. It
Oh,
just
sure.
seems like maybe, they the wrap up was a little weird,
Okay. Yeah, I get you.
but, like, maybe that's just what they had to work with,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe one wrapped up the everything in, like, 4 pages, and they were just like, "Well, crap, we gotta animate these 4 pages, I guess,"
Yeah, yeah, but
You
yeah.
know, whatever works out. Giant Sushi No-Go.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just like in some sense, it's kind of an interesting bookend
Yeah.
because it's like,
That to
back to normal,
oh,
just like this is just a
so
run-of-the-mill, Reagan and mob
yeah, yeah.
adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
We
so
we go into we go on hikes
yeah.
when we're not professional hikers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we fight giant Tsuchinokos.
Yeah. Ugh.
UFAs.
UMA is
UMA, whatever.
unidentified mysterious animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call cryptids in Japan.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah, there was some of that took a minute to translate for me just
yeah,
because,
yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't know what a
never
giant Tsushinoko is.
right, right, yeah. I had never well, I knew what a Sochinoko was, but I'd never heard the term Yume
Yeah,
until
but you're
later.
like more of a weeb,
Yeah,
you know.
but I'd never heard of the term Yume. I had to look that up.
Yeah.
And then Matsutake, that's like a really pricey mushroom, depending
Yeah,
on
I
what
wasn't sure what the mushrooms were, if there was like a psychedelic joke being made or
No, they're just really good to eat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Reagan's saving money on groceries.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Or maybe selling them since they're
or maybe
expensive.
selling. Well, now he said, "Let's go grill up some
Well, I'm
matsutake."
sure
Yeah,
they'll eat some of them, but
yeah.
it's like
Maybe sell some.
if you find a stash of methamphetamine, of course you take a little bit, but
Sure, sure.
yeah, you got to sell some of that.
Well, as most dynamic duos, of course, there's been fan art of Mob and Reagan as Walter White and
That's
Jesse.
Walter White and Jesse.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd
yeah,
that'd be
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
Which one is which?
Reagan being Walter White.
Yeah, I guess that would make the most sense,
Yeah,
just since Reagan's.
the mentor teacher.
Well, I mean, Reagan's also just like perhaps arrogant
Yeah,
to a
yeah, yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah,
extent,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. He could break bad like
Yeah,
Walter. Yeah.
he could break bad.
Breaking Bad now.
Yeah, yeah, baby. That's cool though. I'd like to see that fan art.
Yeah, yeah. I might have to find that and send that to you.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot who did it, but
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't have much else to talk about unless you have something.
I think that's it.
Okay, yeah, so a little bit of news. We did get a date for season 3, October 5th.
October 5th. Okay.
So everything's kind of aligned pretty perfectly if we stay on schedule.
Okay.
The third OP is out legally. It
Ooh.
has over 1 million views now on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, people are excited to see this, man.
Interesting. I thought we had talked about Mob not being all that popular.
Relatively, Japanese fans too,
Yeah.
and, so the English and Japanese fans have been watching this OP. Also, again, it's all relative.
Mhm.
It's not that it's unpopular, it's just that other things are so massively popular
Okay.
that in comparison, it's just not quite.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, because that was running strange in my mind, I guess, just
yeah.
because, like,
Well,
we talked about how Mob was on, like, a bunch of people's, like, top 10 anime lists,
yeah, yeah.
and then it's like, "But it's not popular?" What?
Yes and no. Again, it's what I'm talking about is relative
Yeah, yeah.
popularity. Just like My Hero Academia is just so astronomically popular
Okay.
that it's just kind of dwarfs it in comparison.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty beloved show, and of course, there's
There's more
renewed.
fan fiction.
Yeah, more fan
Yeah.
fiction, more fan art, more discussion. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there's some renewed interest now once again with
Sure.
the third OP coming out, with the third season about to come out.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are jumping on either rewatching it or watching it for the first time now that they know it's wrapping up and they don't have
Yeah.
to wait for anymore. So they're like,
And
oh, cool.
that's why views are just pouring into our podcast.
Yeah, all 30.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a hot commodity
yeah,
right
it's
now.
so hot right now. So that's coming out. They did show the first two episode at two different events, one in America, one in Japan. None
Okay.
of the things leaked because it's a little harder to film 40 minutes of content
Mhm.
covertly than it is
Right.
to film 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, because the OP leaked, right?
The OP leaked.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
we
you
talked about
you
it.
watched it when it
I did watch it when
because
it
you're
leaked,
you're
and then
dirty.
I watched
You're a
the
felon.
OP legally when it came
You're a
out,
felon.
so I could hear it without people screaming.
Yeah.
And so those two episodes came out. I've heard tell of what the ending theme's about. I won't tell you. And I saw a single screenshot of the ending theme.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm so far removed from all this,
yeah, you are.
I just want to
You
enjoy
need
that.
to get going pure. That's why I'm not showing you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the news. It's coming out October. Uh
Cool.
Many eyeballs have seen the first two episodes.
Yeah.
Very lucky people. Yeah.
Cool.
And so next week we'll watch the OVA and we'll talk about kind of our overall season thoughts. If you have a favorite character, favorite arc, favorite episode, anything like that, maybe think about that. Maybe think
Okay.
about the lowlights if you want to as well.
The lowlights.
Yeah, the lowlights, yeah.
Nice.
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows. Yeah, so anything else you want to say about that or
No, I mean,
cool.
sounds like fun.
Awesome. Well,
What a good time.
yeah, what a good time, guys. We have fun here.
We have fun here. That is correct.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to podcasts and such. Next week, we are covering the OVA. See ya.
Bye.